guys, Colin Elam again, aka the Musket Man, and I am back for episode 9 of Gun Table Talk this week. And again, guys, I apologize for this backdrop here. Just so y'all know, I'm in a house. I'm not planning to stay here forever. So just ignore the ugly green drapes in the background. But anyway, guys, I thought I would start another episode this week, and I have finally gone over all the cap and ball revolvers I own. I know there's more cap and ball revolvers out there, like the Dragoon series that I don't have, and the 49 pocket model, and some others as well. Spiller and Bird's another one, but I don't own those, so I haven't done any videos on those. When I get those in the future, I will gladly be doing episodes over that. So I think we're finally getting into the cartridge era of my cowboy action guns or frontier guns, Wild West guns. So I thought, what a great opportunity to talk about the 1873 Cattleman. So guys, without further ado, let's start episode 9 of Gun Table Talk. Thanks for joining me. All right, guys, like I just got done saying, I finished all my cap and ball episodes. Like I said, when I get more in the future, we'll do more episodes. So we're kind of getting into the cartridge era of handguns. So I have with me my two 1873 Cattlemans. So if you've watched any of my videos on the cap and ball revolvers up until this point, I recommend you go watch those if you don't really know about guns to kind of a little bit understand more how they got to this, the cartridge era. So anyway, let's continue. So by the time of the cap and ball era, even up to the Wild West, people were still carrying those guns. But a weird thing came out during the Civil War, which was cartridges. And you first saw them truly with the Spencer rifle and carbine and the Henry repeater is when you first started seeing cartridges. Some were brass, some were copper case, and they all would have been rimfire. So you saw that even during the Civil War with cap and ball revolvers and even muzzle-loading muskets as well. So a little bit after that, we started to crack down on cartridges because we knew this was the way we're going to go versus we're using loose powder or paper cartridges. So like I said, you had the whole time of the cap and ball revolvers. So Colt was coming up with great ideas and good stuff because cartridges were coming out. Well, as you would have seen the 51 Navies and the 1860 Armies and others as well. So by that time, cartridges were coming out. Colt decided to we'll just take those guns and convert them to cartridge guns, which I have an example with me. Not today. We'll cover that in another episode. So they started getting their 51s and their 60 Armies, and they would basically drill out the side to have where it could accept a cartridge. They would cut off the back of the cylinders so you could, again, a cartridge could sit in there that matched the cylinder completely, and they would typically add maybe a bullet extractor or case extractor. Some maybe didn't, but they were going that route. So by the time there were cartridge guns that you would have seen that would have been resembling an 1860 Army that was basically upgraded to accept cartridges. And even by this time of the 1873 Cattleman, you would have seen more of that in the Frontier and Wild West versus the Cattlemans, even though they were out there. And there was also the Schofields, the 1875 Outlaws, and other guns as well. So by this time, 1873 rolls around and Colt has developed his Cattleman, which is a 45 Colt firearm that accepts cartridges and was built for cartridges. And I believe it was one of his first guns to come on the scene that you didn't have to load loose powder into the top of the cylinder and a percussion cap to shoot it. So as you can see, this is my Uberti. This one is made by Uberti. My 1873 Cattleman in stainless steel with charcoal blue screws. Very beautiful gun. I love this gun. I hope to keep it for a long time. It is very, very pretty, very accurate. It is something you would see, out of a Tombstone film, Wyatt Earp, Open Range, something you'd see that I grew up watching. So it's very, very pretty. Plan to get I'd like ivory handle for these, but that's a little expensive, so I may have to go with the cheap plastic because I just more of the look. But anyway, topic for another time. And also, I have the 1873 Western Model 2, also, same model, same caliber. And this one is a 5-inch barrel. Same thing as this one, just blued. But this one has an octagon barrel, which is very neat, very different. Color case hardened frame, and this one is made by Pietta. But it's the same gun, same model, and same caliber. No difference there. So I thought I'd just bring both of them out. So like I said, cartridge era is starting to boom. It's coming out. You're seeing more Winchesters, Henry repeaters, Spencer rifles, the 45-70 trapdoors, stuff like that, because the end of the muzzleloading era was kind of coming to an end for the frontier and for just everyday life. So with these Cattlemans, like I said, cartridge gun, huge advantage. Now you could carry a gun on a rig of some sort or carry multiple cartridges on your person or on your belt that was quicker to reload, was more reliable, was easier in weather, cold weather, wet weather. You didn't have to worry about that as much with these versus the cap and ball guns. You know, in case your gun got wet or your cartridges got wet, you didn't really have to worry about that anymore. So it was a major game changer. So the original cartridge would have been the 45 Colt. They still produce it today. It is still a very popular caliber. And by the way, good luck finding it nowadays unless you're like me and you reload it. And even then, that's hard to do. So the original caliber would have still been a black powder cartridge. It was a .454 bullet that weighed 255 grains. That's a hunk of lead flying at you, and it did a lot of damage. If it was a direct hit, you were done. Like, that was it. I mean, if you survived the shot, it blew you off your feet, and you probably died later. I mean, it was huge. Now, with them being black powder cartridges, you still had the problem of after so many shots, it's going to foul up, or maybe you got a casing stuck when you're trying to extract it after shooting it so many times. That did happen, but it was just the guns of the era, but it was an upgrade from your cap and ball guns. Shoot, Wild Bill Hickok, even during the era of these guns, was still carrying his 51 Navies because he mastered them. He was a pistolero, and he loved them. That's what he wanted. And that, like I said, that's what they carried too, even the time of the cartridge. So like I said, we're kind of talking about the bullet. And like I said, guys, these guns are unloaded. I don't do these videos with loaded guns, just so if there's any liberal out there watching this, the guns are not loaded. So like I said, I have a Uberti and a Pietta model. They make them in the color case hardened frames, just like this one, with a natural blued barrel, everything like that. Different grips. Some come nickel plated, stainless steel. Some are engraved. They come in all different types, different barrel lengths, different calibers as well. 44 special, 45 Schofield, 38 special, 38 long Colt, and there's many more. Even 22s. They even make these in 22s, believe it or not, full size. So, pardon me, got clogged up there. So I'm just more going over the guns, not necessarily the history. So like I said, these are probably my two favorite guns out of my collection of cowboy guns, which I don't have my full collection yet. I hope to by the time I'm in my 80s. But this is a good start. So with this caliber, and I'm going to talk about this one, the standard barrel length would have been 7.5 inches that you would have seen back then. Now, there were some smaller ones that were 4-inch barrels, 5-inch barrels, 4.5 inch, 5.5 inch. There was different, even some that were 3-inch. You know, Doc Holliday in Tombstone carried his bird's head grip 73 Cattleman with a 3-inch barrel in 45 Colt in the movie. They make those as well with bird's head grips, same caliber. You can do that too. So this is more of what you would have seen, something very similar like this. And you see this more in the cowboy movies, you know, any Western, this is more of what you see, or something like this. So going over this as a Uberti gun, just this one. Like I said, I love this. It is drop dead gorgeous. I will never get rid of this thing unless somehow someone offers me something better, which this is hard to beat. So if you know anything about the cap and ball guns, what do? We put it to half cock, which just spins up the cylinder freely. And there is a loading gate on the side of the gun that just flops down, kind of held in with tension to keep it from falling down, but you just knock it down. And as you see, the back of the cylinder rotates so you can add 6 cartridges into the gun. The originals back then, they didn't really have a safety back then. So when you had 6, they probably would have carried it with the hammer down on a primer. Just like I said on the cap and ball guns, that can be dangerous because you have the firing pin resting on a primer. You drop it, you hit it, it could set off the gun, which there's videos out there proving that, and you could blow your foot off or hit your leg. Probably wouldn't have killed you, but it would have cost you an arm and a leg. Or, you know, makes sense. You see what I'm saying? Could have hurt you or someone else. So Now, this Uberti, and I don't know if all the models are like this, but this particular one is. Oh, and by the way, when you have it in half cock, you know, you've already shot all 6. That little casing extractor comes all the way through to kick out your casings if they get stuck. So just covering that real quick. So the Uberti models, this model has a retractable firing pin that the spring goes all the way down into the frame. A little bit different than most guns. Makes it a little bit different to clean, but it's something different. Well, when I first got this, I got it brand new. I got 25 shots through it. The gun broke. They had to send it back to Uberti. They said, yes, that's on us. The spring that holds the retractable firing pin had broke. They replaced it, and it works, but they tightened it up pretty tight so it doesn't retract all the way. The reason they retract it in some of these reproductions is so you can safely load 6 without having to worry about that firing pin resting on a primer. Well, this one I can't really do it anymore, which is fine. So if you're going to carry it with 6 shots, you have to have the loading lever up, and you have to have it on half cock if you're going to carry 6, because you don't want to have that hammer lowered all the way down. So this is where you would have to hold it. Or you do what's called cowboy loading it. And that's where you would load 1 cartridge into the back, skip, load the other 4. That way, when you bring it back and cock it and lower the hammer, you are on an empty chamber. So you are completely safe. There's no problem that's going to happen. Problem is you're 1 bullet short, which back then you needed every shot you could get because you just never know. So they kind of just took that risk. So with this particular Uberti model, that is what it does. So just know you have a retractable firing pin. And this one has a pretty heavy mainspring. It's about 5 to 6 pounds to cock it. Not unbearable, but a little bit heavier. Trigger pull is very light, maybe 3 pounds. Very accurate. With these, both of these, they typically shoot low because of the tall front sight. Now, some of you guys out there going, well, Colin, they do that because of the recoil, because the barrel will come up, bringing the bullet up. But honestly, doesn't matter. One-handed, two-handed, this one shoots about 4 inches low, so you just have to aim a little bit higher. You can file the front sight, which is an option to bring that barrel up, which I plan to do with both of these professionally in the future, but that is an option. So that's kind of enough about the Uberti. So let's talk about the Pietta. And I might have enough time. So, like I said, this one's a little bit different. 5-inch barrel, octagon barrel, color case hardened, plastic grip. I need to file it. It wasn't 100% formed correctly to the grip. It just needs a little bit of filing, but no big deal. With the Pietta, it is the same. On this particular model, this one has maybe a pound to cock that hammer. It is just a smooth action, as you can see. Easy, no problem at all. And it is the same caliber, same way to unload your casings, everything like that. But with this one, it has a safety notch where you can safely carry 6. So, as you can see, put it all the way back, same thing, half cock, rotates the cylinder, loading gate opens to load up your gun, everything like that. Except with this one, if you can see, that hammer is lowered all the way down. We're going to pretend this is loaded, and I want y'all to listen. Now, let me do that again so you can see the trigger. Do you see the trigger fly forward? That is your safety for a lot of these Pietta guns and others as well. Now you can safely have 6. I'm pulling that trigger. I'm hitting it. That hammer is not going to fall down. It is locked into place. You cannot, it will not fire. So sorry, Alec Baldwin, it will not fire. Sorry, don't know what to tell you. So you're safe there, or you can carry it on half cock just like the Uberti if you wanted to, but there's no need now. Or you could cowboy load it with 1 less shot, but there's no need if you're going to carry 6 because you've got a safety notch there. And like I said, the only complaint, like I said, mainspring's a little bit heavier on that. That's the only complaint I got about this one. The Pietta, good action, but that trigger is a little stiff. So it can hurt your accuracy a little bit. I plan to get it taken in to get that fixed. So real quick, I'm going to show you, if you can see how it was a little bit easier to load or to cock the Pietta. So anyway, guys, I was just wanting to talk about these 2 fantastic guns here. They're great buys. Either brand, support them completely. Go out and get one if you're looking for one. Well, guys, I'm about to run out of time, and thank you for joining me in another episode of Gun Table Talk. And remember, I'm the Musket Man, and keep your powder dry. We will catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys.